Hi, good evening. This is Ashwin back with another informative video. Today we are going to talk about one of the most hot topics which has been doing rounds in the past 1 week. It is the India China border dispute. The Chinese soldiers, which is also known as the People Liberations Army, and the Indian soldiers are actually facing a standoff in the line of control at the Galvan Valley. And the situation is very tense out there. Why is all this happening? Before getting into the video, let's do some basics.
To start with, let's first understand how many states actually border India and China. There are 5 states: Jammu and Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim and Himachal Pradesh. India shares a very long border with China with a distance of 3,488 kilometers. Of the entire distance, Jammu and Kashmir forms the longest part of the border with a stretch of 1,600 kilometers, and Arunachal Pradesh forming 1,126 kilometers, and the balance by other 3 states. If we consider the entire border stretch, apart from Arunachal Pradesh, this is the area which has had major number of disputes in the past. If you take a closer look at the picture, you can find that this picture represents borders between India and Pakistan and India and China. India and Pakistan are separated by line of control, and India and China are separated by line of actual control. The 3 major parts in the diagram, if you see, first part is the Pakistani administered Kashmir, which is to your left hand top corner. Second part is the Chinese administered Aksai Chin region, which is to your right hand top corner. And the third and a very strategically important part, which is the area ceded by Pakistan to China at your center top corner with grey dashed lines.
Now we know how India borders Pakistan and how it borders China. The borderline between India and Pakistan is called line of control, and the borderline between India and China is called the line of actual control. In the last 1 week, China has been making significant advancement into the Indian territory, threatening us of encroachment. The Chinese army is also called the People's Liberation Army. They have also indulged in physical and verbal fights with our Indian soldiers. Why should they do all that? What is the kind of enmity which has been developing between these two countries? There are actually a few pressure points which needs to be discussed. And this is not something which happened yesterday or the day before. It's been happening for more than 5 to 6 decades. But let's know about what these pressure points are. Let's get into the video.
Point number 1. Issue on the Pakistani administered Kashmir. It's related to the China's announcement of Belt Road Initiative project in 2013. China has been ambitious in connecting itself with the rest of its major trade partners through this prestigious Belt Road project. China planned to carry out the project both in land and in water. In this picture, you can see 2 lines, one in red and the other in blue. Red line indicates the land route and the blue line indicates the maritime route of the project. Now, why do we have to know about this Belt Road project? This is because China has been easing the construction of this project by forming a strategic alliance with Pakistan through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. One of the key aspects of this alliance is leasing of Gwadar port for a period of 43 years up till 2059. You can find Gwadar port in the left hand bottom corner of this picture, and this is apparently the deepest seaport in the world. This port is owned by the government of Pakistan but leased to China. Why should China lease this port? By leasing this port, China was able to easily transport material and goods required for construction of this Belt Road project and fasten the process. Further, China has invested a whopping rupees 4.5 lakh crore in constructing a long highway named Karakoram Highway, which is 1,300 km long, and it connects the Gwadar port and the Pakistani administered Kashmir. All of this infrastructure investment was to facilitate the completion of the Belt Road project. Now we should know that Pakistani administered Kashmir is divided into 2. One is the Azad Kashmir and other they call it as the northern areas. The Azad Kashmir is actually a self-governing state with its own constitution, but it's just administered by Pakistan. It's neither owned by Pakistan or comes under the Pakistani constitution. China, having made all these investments and expecting a possible threat from India, it's been insisting Pakistan to change the legal status of Azad Kashmir and annex it with Pakistan. This would enable Pakistan to bring it under its constitution and ease the tension. But would India agree to it? In fact, it would anger India. The tension in this matter still persists, and this can be considered as the pressure point number 1. Point number 2, it's the Aksai Chin. We all know that Aksai Chin is a long disputed area between China and India. This area is one of the coldest and most deserted places, and it has no resources. When Jawaharlal Nehru finalized the map of India in 1950, he included Aksai Chin as a part of Ladakh region under Indian geography. But this place was very important to China as it connected Xinjiang region with the western Tibet. They wanted this region because they wanted to transport goods and ammunitions from the Xinjiang region to Tibet. We all know that Tibet is being controlled by China. In order to ease the connectivity, China started constructing a road in 1950 through this region and completed the construction in 1957. They literally traversed Indian borders while constructing this road, and India was unaware of this till 1957. When India came to know, it eventually led to India-China War in 1962, and we all know what was the result of the war. China won it hands down and retained Aksai Chin. Currently, Aksai Chin is under Chinese control, but however, this can be considered as the second point of tension between these two countries. Now it all boils down to point number 3, the ongoing Galvan Valley dispute. This picture shows the Chinese-administered Aksai Chin region, including the 3 places namely Galvan Valley, Hot Springs, and Pangong Lake, which are separated by the line of actual control. These 3 places are represented as red dots in this picture. Currently, the ongoing tension and standoff between these two countries is majorly in the Galvan Valley region. In May 2020, Chinese army advanced closer to Galvan Valley, allegedly trying to encroach Indian territory. They also indulged in physical fights with the Indian soldiers in the region. These kind of instances are quite common in the region, but this time it has escalated to that extent that thousands of Indian and Chinese soldiers are on a standoff across the line of actual control, creating a very tense situation. It is said that if Chinese army occupy the Pangong Lake, which is mentioned in the diagram, penetrating and occupying Ladakh region becomes very easy. Now the biggest question is, why did Chinese army try encroaching Galvan Valley, which has now created a tense atmosphere between these two nations? Though there is no concrete answer, there are 2 different media speculations to it. One say that this tension might have been triggered by the infrastructure activities carried out by India across the line of actual control, which was not of the Chinese liking. India has been threatening China by developing its infrastructure around the line of actual control area by laying new roads and establishing air bases. Secondly, few other analysts say that China always wants this border tension to linger in order to keep India's focus away from Tibet, where the Chinese government has already been facing several problems. But whatever be the reason, this might really escalate this time, as the Chinese army has already moved its trucks inside the Indian territory of line of actual control. Let's hope and pray it does not lead to an all-out war between these two Asian giants.
Yes, these are the 3 major pressure points which you could say, which is hampering the relationship between these 2 Asian giants. And let's hope and pray that this standoff doesn't result in an all-out war. And before concluding this video, I would just like to quickly mention a couple of points. One is that in April 2020, India restricted investments from China in the form of FDIs. The reason why it did it is China was taking advantage of the situation in India where the share prices was trading at a really low prices, and these Chinese investors were trying to make the best use of it by investing their money at when the share prices were really low, and India did not like it. And this measure from India actually kind of angered China, which could also possibly be the reason for this kind of a military confrontation by China. Secondly, the US President Mr. Trump offered to mediate between India and China, but India secretly turned down the offer The reason could possibly be that if US enters the picture, it could lead to an actual war, wherein India and US would form one side, and the war would be against China. In this case, probably India and US would have probably won the war, and US would have returned home with the cup, but then it would have resulted in a real natural depletion for our country. So our country decided to handle this issue in a very, very diplomatic way, and uh, it could be the right way too. Thirdly, India has been procuring a lot of testing kits for testing the COVID disease from China. But recently, because of this border dispute, India has looked upon another country to procure their kits, which is Argentina. Argentina has come up with a new kit called NeoKit COVID-19, which could possibly be much more efficient than the Chinese kits. These kits from Argentina could actually test the disease within a span of 2 hours. So a testing done at 2 a.m. you could get the result by 4 a.m. So that efficient are these testing kits are. But then it's slightly more expensive than that of Chinese. It is costing $8 there, whereas it would cost around $3 to $4 in China. But then India has managed to find an alternative to China to procure their medical kits. And that's it. It's Ashwin signing off for now. Till the time I meet you with the next interesting video. Take care.